You're listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole.
So Jeff Driscoll, quarterback for the Denver Broncos, Drew Lock out of the game with an injured shoulder. Driscoll going to go deep himself, has a man, and it's caught. Caught down at about the 30-yard line by Cortland Sutton.
And welcome back, guys. You're listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole. I am your host for today, Cole Smitty Smith. You can find me on all of social media at that designation. You can also find my partner, Josh Grismer?
Close enough.
Grismear. Or you can find him on social media. Yeah, that was interesting. You can find him on social media at I'm Joshua Owen. We are going to be talking NFL and the Denver Nuggets, who are in the Western Conference Finals. We missed an episode last week, Josh. We weren't exactly able to celebrate completely the Nuggets going to the Western Conference Finals.
It was, I mean, it's what you should kind of expect, right? We made it to the second round last year. It's what you would expect, even though the Nuggets had a little bit more turmoil of a year, I guess you could say. But
even though you were expecting, you're still surprised, right?
Yeah, no, I was happy. It was a happy surprise, obviously. I totally agree with that. But I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they're doing. Obviously, we know now that they're down in a hole 0-2. But again, I don't necessarily want to count them out yet. I don't think that we should. We've kind of seen them come back from a 3-1 deficit the last two rounds. So I don't think we can, kind of be surprised at that anymore. I actually heard Coach Malone say earlier this week, I had a petition put out to start the series down 3-1. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of, that's a funny joke that he made, but there's also truth to that.
And honestly, if it brings some fire to the Nuggets, I'm all here for it. You guys got to stick around, though, for that conversation. That is going to be in our second segment. Right now, we got football conversation. Unfortunately,
it's a lot of bad news.
Yeah, it's not the great news, because even for all the teams we like on this station, whatever you want to call it, it was not a good Sunday for anybody. The Broncos came back. There was a shot at winning the football game with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback,
which is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Unfathomable. I will be the first to raise my hand and say I totally thought the Steelers were going to roll the Broncos as soon as Drew Lock hit the floor.
No, I totally agree with that. I think it's what you should have expected.
Yes.
I think Ben Roethlisberger played well. I don't think he had the best game of his career. I think he's still trying to come back and kind of test that elbow, how it's feeling.
Yeah, and Josh, there is something I want to point out to you. Now, the Broncos, they're having a hard time getting to this designated number, but as you look through all of the scores for all of the games that went on during the week, or at least on Sunday, almost every single game went above 21 points. Any team worth their salt than 21 points, including the Broncos.
Green Bay's got a second straight week of putting up a 40-piece.
Now,
they look
what
scary.
I have noticed is every team that scored at least 4 touchdowns won the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the trend. Look, right now, what needs to happen for the Broncos' sake, and I find that it's going to be a lot harder now because of the injuries that have happened, but you got to find a way. I think if you can score 25 points and above, you have a very good chance of winning.
That's why I want to bring this number out there. The Broncos are not far off of turning these games around and turning these into W's.
Oh, absolutely.
The Broncos are right there. They only need to score 4 touchdowns. And I know that seems like a lot in the NFL. A touchdown a quarter, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it shouldn't be.
But even the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing this, and I'm a Jaguars fan. I know that's taking a bit of a jab at my team, but Gardner Minshew's also winning the MVP.
Minshew's been...
I mean, it's fair. It's
you're
safe
just
to say.
Throw that
safe
in there.
to say. If you're going to throw down early bets, y'all.
Minshew's been good. Look, I mean, honestly, altogether throughout the last 2 weeks, he's had 6 incompletions.
He has played like he wants to keep his job.
Yes, I don't think one of those interceptions was on him. He threw 2. One of those interceptions was not on him. One of them was. And I think it was the last one that happened. It was just a poor decision to throw there. I saw it was tipped, and I understand that. And getting a ball tipped, should the receiver have caught it? Yes. I just didn't like the coverage he was throwing into. I don't think it would have been, even if he did make the catch, I don't think it would have benefited the team. It was like a 8-yard catch. So what's that really? They were already in field goal
and that's
range.
just it. He was looking for a dump off man, right?
Totally.
When you're trying to win the game,
yeah,
you're trying to get downfield and throw past the sticks, and that was a lot of mistakes. I think a lot of young quarterbacks made on Sunday.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at Justin Herbert. The dude basically
played pretty dang well.
He played like he's been doing this all of his life. Brings the Chargers to the brink of beating the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And if he just throws the football 3 yards further downfield, we're talking about a different game.
That one interception that he threw though was bad. He should not have made that throw.
I'm even talking about his decisions later in the game to decide to throw to a receiver below the sticks.
Yep,
it's
I agree.
that difference. It's that mindset that you got to get into, because great quarterbacks are just saying, hey, I got to make this throw. I got to make my own open wide receiver. And that's what you're looking for. But I think you saw that potential come out of a lot of different quarterbacks. You even saw it come out of Drew Lock a little bit before he went down. There was hope there.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we got to wait, 1 week, 2 weeks? It's still yet to be decided.
Drew Lock, they said 4 to 6.
4 to 6
4 to 6 weeks. So I think that's...
And Vic Fangio spoke to the media earlier today on Monday saying that it was a bruised shoulder, too. That it's not nothing... So anything terrible, it's just a bruised shoulder.
The official report that came out yesterday said it was a sprained AC joint. Is that not true then? Well, because a sprained AC joint and a bruised shoulder. According to Vic Fangio, of course,
obviously doesn't know the medical.
He'll downplay it.
Yeah, and he doesn't know the medical lingo, obviously. But it's a bruise on his shoulder, and of course, no matter whether it tore, whether it's just a messed up joint or whatever, because I obviously don't know it. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I don't know any of this either.
Yeah.
Obviously, it messes up his throwing motion enough.
It's his throwing shoulder. That's the biggest thing.
And it's not going to be able to put him on the field.
No, and I want to talk about that because yesterday was weird, man.
The Broncos are a weird team, man.
It was the entire NFL. It was like the most notable players on each team got injured. And I don't understand how that happened. I'm reading the list, and this is from yesterday, so this is not even updated. But we got Barkley with an ACL, Bosa with an ACL, Thomas with an ACL, Malik Hooker with a heel, Raheem Mostert, a knee, Campbell with a knee, Linder with a knee, Garoppolo knee, Perriman, knee, ankle, McCaffrey, ankle, which, by the way, it was a high ankle sprain. That could be a couple months that he's out. Drew Lock, shoulder. Anthony Barr, shoulder, who he actually tore his pectoral muscle, so he's out for the year. Shepard with a toe, Akers with a rib, Adams with a hamstring, Jones with a groin. Again, that's not even updated. We just learned today that Cortland Sutton's out for the year now with a torn ACL as well. On top of that, you got the quarterback for the Chargers, who Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor went out yesterday. He didn't even start the game. It was in warm-ups.
And you know what's really interesting too? The NFL is having an investigation at MetLife Stadium for their turf.
Because it could be declared unsafe.
Well, and of course, and even on that list you read, it was mostly Giants and Jets. Yeah,
Garoppolo and Bosa, which is unheard. I mean, what happened yesterday? Like 2020 has been weird in and of itself, but what happened yesterday?
But this is
evident. They said, was it 17? Josh, I think 17 total players around the NFL that are notable players.
But Josh, this is evident of not having a preseason.
See, and is it though?
Yes.
I don't think
we would not. They predicted soft tissue injuries, and a lot of these little things were going to happen because there was not a proper OTA or a proper
I was going to say,
camp.
I think training camp and OTAs, yes. Preseason, no, because 90% of the preseason, your starting offense doesn't even play.
I still think having some kind of preseason gives these players the opportunity to have some kind of football motion on the field.
Yes, it does, but I think the biggest thing was OTAs and training camps. Not having a normal OTA and Josh, because look, these guys can work out all they want. They can work out off the field. They can do all that, but they are not getting the NFL training that they need to work your body. And again, I heard this earlier today on the radio. These guys are getting every single year, getting bigger, faster, and stronger. But at the same time, getting stronger and faster, and the collisions are getting harder. You can get strong all you want. You don't work out your tendons. You don't work out your ligaments.
Okay,
your ligaments do not get stronger per se, even though your muscles do.
All right, well, Josh, let's take away all the other conversations, Broncos conversation, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into this preseason thing before we get out of this segment. If the NFL is going to look at this in the future, which they most likely are,
Absolutely.
And preseason is going to change in the future just because of what happened this year and the CBA and all that crap. So, Josh, how do you see the preseason moving forward? How do you see all of this preparation going forward? Because obviously a lot of this is going to change. personally, me, I would like to see the NFL go with just 2 preseason games, maybe even make one of them just a scrimmage with another team. That way you can still go against different bodies. You can still have those motions, but then just extend the training camp, extend the amount of time these players can get with their coaches, the amount of time these guys can get into team meetings, all of these little detail things. Should that just be extended instead of making the preseason, making the preseason shorter or even just making it longer?
I think this is the biggest thing. I think this year has proven that we need a 4-game preseason.
Okay.
I think this absolutely has proven. I don't think they're going to change. I think before this, all the talks were 2 games in preseason and a 17-week regular season. I still think regular season could work with 17 weeks. I also think that they may shorten it to 3 games for the preseason. But right now, I think looking directly at the NFL, the way that it is already created, I think they're like, look, especially with what happened yesterday, they're looking at this and saying a 4-game preseason has worked for the last 100 years because the NFL is 101 years old.
Well, and
has worked. And I think now they're like, we need a 4-game preseason more than ever. Well, like you've got to give these guys time.
And they're looking at that just purely based off of guys getting injuries.
Yes, absolutely.
Taking a look at talent.
And the fact that their
rosters
are smaller because they don't have the young guys that they knew. Like, listen, look at this. You are absolutely, like, you could, as a young guy, an undrafted young guy, you could make your career in preseason, and they never had that. Yeah. They didn't have that this year. There could be guys that lose their NFL dream for the rest of their life now because they didn't have the preseason in 2020.
Yeah, you're not going to find Phillip Lindsay's. You're not going to find Austin Eckler.
Absolutely.
I totally get that, but that's why I think there should still be 2 preseasons, or at least some kind of, or even 2 preseason games and a scrimmage. Yeah. Make it 3. I just think 4 preseason games is a bit excessive because let's face it, no matter what, when you get to that 4th preseason game, you're looking at a bunch of scrubs anyway. You're looking at guys that aren't going to be on NFL rosters. That's the storyline that everybody bites off of. That's why I say you should at least shorten the preseason a little bit. Now, we both agree
I agree with you. I just don't think it's going to happen yet.
But we both agree there should be some kind of preseason too, right? Because these players need to get out on the field and they need to be hitting each other. That's another thing too. I think a lack of tackling has played a lot into even pectoral tears, things like that. Because with
your body's not ready. Your body's not ready for it.
You got to prepare your body, almost put calluses on your body.
Absolutely.
And that's a harder thing that it's a lot easier said than done, especially when it comes to a massive sport like football where these guys are just trains hitting each other.
It's a car accident every single time you're tackled. I mean, like even yesterday when I was watching the Sunday Night Football game and Cam Newton getting stuffed at the line, he got upended, he got flipped, and he landed on his neck weird. Like these bodies, your body is not literally made for the type of activity that football is.
You got to be built different to play in the NFL. And in speaking of immovable forces meeting an unstoppable, I don't know the term. Anyway, the Lakers and the Nuggets, they're facing each other. They are in the Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets, they found themselves in a hole thanks to the brow. Anthony Davis drilling one in the Joker's face. We're going to talk about it next on Weekdays with Josh and Cole.
You're listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole.
Nikola Jokic will be face guarding. Nuggets looking to hang on. 2.1 seconds to go. Any kind of a score wins it for the Lakers. Here we go. Rondo looks in. He's guarded by Jokic. Three-pointer Davis. Got it at the horn! Biggest shot of the game to Anthony Davis, and the Nuggets are going to lose Game 2 in the Western Conference Finals by a final score of 105-103.
And welcome back, guys. You're listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole. We are talking Western Conference Finals.
Let's go.
Blah, 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 blah. We don't have our own sound effects. It's kind of sad. But we are talking about the Nuggets taking on the Lakers, which is fantastic. I love this series. Just a quick note. These uniforms both these teams are wearing,
phenomenal.
Fire.
I love them.
Just eye candy on the court. You got Kobe Bryant Mamba jerseys. You got the Black City Edition Denver Nugget jerseys.
I love the dark jersey look for both teams.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
I love the neon look. It's fantastic.
The Lakers look is great, and I do like the neon from the rainbow from the Nuggets jerseys as well.
I do agree, Josh. So those Mamba jerseys,
they're pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but
they got magic in them. Look what Anthony Davis just did to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets.
I don't even think that was on Nikola Jokic. Look, Nikola Jokic moved faster than I've ever seen him move because he was from the baseline all the way to the three-point line.
Yeah, he was actually, Nikola Jokic was supposed to stop the inbound from even happening in the first place. Mason Plumlee was on Anthony Davis, and AD set up a beautiful screen around LeBron James. He talked about it at the end of the game. It's a play they've talked about, and actually, the ball was supposed to go to LeBron. It
was.
But because the Denver Nuggets are so good at shutting down star players, they did what they did. They picked one player to double team, and that was LeBron. And AD just saw all the way around that.
I just think the way... Look, I think this play was set up to fail before it even started, and I'm sorry that I said that. But I think if you listen, hear me out, Plumlee was subbed so late I was entire process.
You know, I was even questioning why we had Plumlee and Dozier on the court.
I agree. But also on top of that, he was talking to Jeremy Grant, or Jeremy Grant was talking to him right before the play started. And I don't know what they said, but it almost looked like Jeremy Grant was yelling out the kind of command the play of like, hey, stay with AD or whatever. And then Plumlee was like, no, switch. And I don't know if that got lost in translation or anything like that, but I think the way that it set up for failure. I don't think Plumlee should have been in the game at that point. I really don't.
I 100% agree. I 100% agreed. PT and PJ Dozier, he is a great basketball player. He played some phenomenal defense at the end.
He did.
He even drained a couple buckets, and I appreciate that from the dude. I don't need you on the court when we're literally trying to tie a series.
Literally crunch time.
Like that was just so, I don't know what Malone's thinking was there. We'd have to look back at that audio too to get kind of an idea of that. But I do agree, something happened to where Mason Plumlee thought he was supposed to stay with LeBron, and whoever was guarding LeBron, there was multiple defenders there. Someone was supposed to just break off and to get in AD's face, not Jokic, though. Nikola was not supposed to be put on a poster. That was not supposed to happen.
And that's what, if you look at that video, AD is just as surprised as everyone else at that bucket.
Exactly. And and I'm sure they ran that play a million times, but AD said, the ball goes to LeBron on that play. Like,
I mean, good on him for making the decision to shoot. Let's be 100% honest. How many seconds were left in the game at that point?
It was literally 0.6 seconds. So you had to choose.
For him to process that was, look, you got to give credit where credit's due. He made the shot. It was a great shot. Even as a Nuggets fan, it sucks, and I understand that, but he did a good job. It was a great shot.
Man, it was it's after watching Luka Doncic do the same thing to the Clippers and being on the wrong end of that, especially because I bet on Luka at the time.
So your pockets are hurting after that as well. Yeah.
But it's just to be on the wrong side of a draining shot like that.
And I think that's why that's why I think Game 3 is the most important game right now, because the Nuggets going down 3-1, I think the Nuggets will not be able to win 4 games in a row against the Lakers. That's why I'm thinking if they can get a Game 3 win under their belt and then try to climb that ladder, they're not going to win. They're not going to win out. The Lakers will win more games, but I think if the Nuggets can get Game 3, come back 2-1, okay, that's a smaller ladder that you have to climb than going down 3-1 again, or 3-0.
Instead of going for the home run, we need to get some singles and
doubles. Hit a double,
going.
hit a single.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Bunt if you have to.
Yes.
Look. Get on base. That's a great analogy. Yeah. Get on base and get those runners home.
Well, and I think this is going to put some kind of fire underneath the Nuggets. Even Plumlee said after the game, this is motivating. This is going to get them over the edge. And I know Jamal Murray's getting locked in right now. That dude does not take losses like that very kindly.
Nope.
And I am super excited to see what the Nuggets can do in Game 3, because look at what they were able to do. If the Nuggets climb a little bit faster and get that lead with maybe 5 more minutes on the clock, and we can get a 5-point lead on the Lakers, none of this even matters.
Absolutely.
So
totally.
It was purely just the Nuggets getting hot way too late. We got to figure out what the Nuggets have to figure out. I'm not out there on the court. The Nuggets have to figure out what they have to do to get buckets in the basket at a quicker time. And I know that's what they were fighting with the Clippers too. There's some halves they couldn't get a shot in, and they couldn't even bucket. Well, then look, there's other halves Jamal Murray looks like he can't miss.
It's the third period or the third quarter woes. Like that's the third quarter has been their biggest enemy of this entire bubble series. Yeah. So when you're looking at that, guys, score in the third quarter. Well, score in the third quarter, and you won't have any of these coming down to the wire things. Like
another big key, I think, though, Michael Porter Jr. Can we talk about him for a minute? This dude,
I'm a little confused as to why Malone did not keep playing him.
Why is he not starting?
Yeah, I don't understand this because Porter is playing well when he's on the court. And even his defense.
And I get there was the whole locker room situation. Porter said things he probably shouldn't have.
It's done and gone. As a coach, you need to put that behind you.
And honestly, when the dude goes back the next night and answers it and says, I was right, that dude needs to be playing more minutes. I don't know if we're trying to keep Porter healthy. I don't know if maybe his
that time has got to be gone.
It's got to be
that
right.
Time has got to be
gone. There's no reason to be holding this dude in the closet.
You're in the
anymore.
Conference Finals.
You have a chance to win the whole thing.
Yeah,
you legit that's what I need to stress to anybody listening to this podcast right now. The Denver Nuggets have a shot to win the NBA Finals, not the Western Conference Finals, the NBA Finals. We have a chance to make franchise history just to go there for the first time ever.
And you should have no pressure on you. You really don't. You weren't supposed to be here. You weren't supposed to be in the second round.
They're so used to being down in this hole anyway. None of this is new for the Nuggets. Now, you switch the tape a little bit. You flip that little RC tape over.
Yeah.
The Lakers, they've been the top dogs the entire playoffs. They're they're not in a good way comfortable. They're in a comfortable, we are about to ride our way to the finals.
And the thing is with the Lakers, they should be, how do I put this? They should be the ones that are if the Nuggets can put any type of pressure by winning a game here, that's where the Lakers will start to get uncomfortable. Look, before this, the Lakers played 10 games, 11 games? They played so many less games than the Nuggets have so far, where if the Nuggets can just put that little pressure on them. I'm not saying the Lakers could crumble, but they could.
But speaking of that pressure, after a game 2 like that, when they were wearing their Mamba jerseys and the Denver Nuggets were shot for shot with them the entire game,
tied going into the fourth quarter,
definitely knocks you off your balance a little bit. And I'm sure the Lakers are going to adjust. They're going to do Laker things. LeBron, he's been in this situation. He's faced Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Come on, the dude knows how to adjust to a good basketball team.
Steph Curry.
Exactly. So come on, I'm going to give the dude credit where credit's due, but I'm also going to give credit where credit's due to Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets, a team that thrives off of fighting back and winning these series when no one counts them in anything. And I think that game 2 showed the whole NBA world, we're not out of this yet. And if the Nuggets do get that win, like you said, Josh, that pushes the ball over. That starts that avalanche rolling down the hill. To use a pun from their Pepsi Center neighbors.
No, I think you're absolutely right. If they can get a win and just build off that win, understand once they get that win, Jamal Murray, Jokic, everybody on the Nuggets team will be like, we can beat these guys. We can beat these guys, and that'll get them rolling.
But now, what does that take? It takes
almost
Nikola
a perfect
Jokic
game.
Triple doubles almost every night.
And look,
Joker.
I'm going to say, I'm glad we haven't even brought up the fouls because the fouls are just absurd being called there. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
But if they can overcome that, they know that they can overcome what would be ticky-tacky fouls.
No, and the NBA knows.
They just have to play almost a perfect game. Yes. I mean, you really do. But I think the Nuggets can do it. Well, I really do.
And Joker using Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard's anger against them, that was golden last night.
Absolutely. Now, that's what happens. All you got to do is put pressure on the Lakers, and they start getting mad at each other.
They get frustrated.
Just put some pressure on.
And that's another thing too. The Clippers were a young team. This was their first year all together. The Lakers, guess what? This is their first year with AD. They're a young team. They're going to make mistakes. The Nuggets, we've been here before.
Oh, yeah.
Capitalize on our veteran status in the NBA. I know the tail of the tape and the picture everyone's looking at looks like the Lakers. Oh, yeah, they've done this before. No, LeBron's done this before. If you take LeBron off the Lakers starting roster, everybody has the same amount of playoff experience.
AD played for the Pelicans. You know how many times he went to the playoffs? Come on, you can count it on one hand. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So it's just don't count the Denver Nuggets out.
Absolutely.
Just yet.
You just need to build on one win.
One win. That's what the Denver Broncos need. They just need one win.
Absolutely.
That's what the Jaguars need. They just need one win.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the Jags.
That's okay. Well, Russell Wilson. Hey, Russell Wilson, man, that dude's going to win an MVP.
Russ needs to win the MVP this year.
There's so many sports happening, Josh.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. We can't talk about it in enough shows, but mostly because we're still Denver sports. We got to talk about our Broncos.
And the biggest thing about
our Nuggets.
The biggest thing I want to talk about Russ right now is, look, man, that guy. We're 2 weeks in, and he has 9 touchdowns and 11 incompletions. Just soak that up real quickly. No, 9 touchdowns to 11 incompletions. That's not even fair. That's video game style.
Yeah,
now.
Russell Wilson is proving to every sports writer in the world that you should have voted for me last year.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it's going to roll over. He's going to keep doing his thing every single week, week in and week out.
Guys, stay tuned. We will bring you another Weekdays with Josh and Cole later this week to preview week 3 of the NFL season. Josh, we were nearly undefeated with our picks, but I think we only missed
close.
like 3 games.
We were
something
close,
like that.
yeah.
Well, 2 of them, including Jacksonville and Denver.
Yeah, we showed our bias there.
We showed some hometown bias. That's fine, though. Our record is speaking for itself. You guys want to tune in. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can find us on social media. Me at Cole Smitty Smith. My partner, Josh, at I'm Joshua Owen. No, not me. He is at I'm Joshua Owen. Guys, thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole.